Right, here we go. This is a story about what's happening, and I contacted the school today, but because I learned of this story too late, we didn't give them enough notice to speak to the principal. I mean, if they pop back up tomorrow, maybe we'll try. But here's a school who is rejecting the school lunches because they are trash, and that's where they're all ending up. And this is where teachers and I guess local community are coming together to actually make lunches for kids. This is still happening. Remember as well, as we watch this, the government, when in opposition, one of their main lines of concern around the then school lunches under Labor was waste, right? So remember that. These guys changed it because they were so concerned, amongst other things, but very heavily weighted, was about waste. So that therefore means, Chewie, we would expect waste to be far less. That would only make sense. Cue the story.
Millions of dollars worth of food fed to the pigs. That's from one East Coast school urging the government to revert to the old school lunch model to prevent any further waste. Here's Henry McMullen.
The lunch line growing in numbers by the day.
Thank you.
But it's not for the food, it's the disposal line. Despite teachers making sure the kids try their meal before throwing them out.
Now that's really important because you know what, some people look and say, oh, they're just doing what their friends do. The teachers make them eat some, so they can't just go, ooh, yuck. You know how kids do that? Ooh, we'll try it. Oh, it's funny, you like it, but this is try it. Oh, okay. You think it's trash.
This is the wastage pretty much that we get every day. Like, this is, every day, like they're all coming up to line up and throw it away because they're not into it.
Nuhaka school staff saying the food is inedible, lacking taste, and with the same meals on repeat.
Hey, Mr. Luxon, these are your customers. You know how you like to talk about customers instead of patients? These are your customers, and they're rejecting your product. So as the CEO in waiting, as the great leader, the great CEO, what do you do when your company offers a product that gets rejected by your customers? These are your customers, sir. What do? Do you keep serving them the same stuff that they're rejecting, going, we'll just keep doing it? Or do you fix your product to your customers?
Staff using their own money to cover alternatives so kids are fed.
This is what we do. We have a freezer full of bread, come in and start making sandwiches.
We have staff bring from home their snack bars for their kids in class because not all of them have, a morning tea when they come to school, or they don't eat breakfast, so they're already hungry once they get to school.
But the school fears they can't continue to cover the costs.
I'm actually quite scared of what the future looks like for school lunches. In a sense, I'm quite annoyed that they actually changed it, because our school lunch system last year was working great. The kids loved it. There was hardly any food left over.
With a school roll of just over 100, Nuhaka School receives 3 of these meal containers a day. Today's mince meal created 2 buckets full of food waste and dozens of unwanted meals that can't be reused. All those leftovers then passed on to one.
Just quietly, Mr. Seymour and Mr. Luxon, remember all that noise you were making about all the waste under Labor? Just gonna freeze frame.
And more to the point, I remember him mentioning that one of the true signs of the waste built into the Labour's thing is that they were getting fed to pigs.
Yeah. And remember, this is the waste from a tiny rural school, 100 students. So this is indicative waste of a small school. I just wonder now today if you're as concerned about the waste.
One lucky local.
Millions of dollars going into a pig bucket feeding our pigs.
It's a misuse of taxpayer-funded property, and our goal is to make sure that everyone enjoys these lunches so much that, they're almost going on the black market.
So, okay, you're a twat, but let's just go with what you've said.
What the hell?
Our job is to make these meals so enjoyable that kids want to sell them on the black market. Let's skip by the redonkulous thing you just said. But what you're saying is your job is to make them that kids are chomping at the bits to get them. Fail, Mr. Seymour. KPIs, Mr. Luxon, not being hit. Your customers are not happy. You are not doing what you say you should be doing. So fucking do it. Or Let the local community keep doing it like they were last year. Chewie.
We are just judging the man on the words that he has used.
Yep.
He loves his words. He's always in front of the media saying them. That's why we fucking remember them. One of the things that he said was that these would be the best meals that these kids have ever had.
And cheaper.
Ridiculous hyperbole straight out of the gates, but here we are. Now, the proof is in the pudding. The kids don't want to eat them. And his response to this story is to basically make some sort of bullshit threat about it being misuse of taxpayer property. What does he expect to happen? This school, New Haka School, stop giving it to the pigs. What you need to do is you need to put all of those scraps and uneaten meals back in the box, seal up the bucket, put it in the courier, and send it to David Seymour's fucking office.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
If it can't be used for a pig and it's a misuse of taxpayer money, then obviously David Seymour has a better idea for those scraps. Send it to him so that taxpayer, I'm a taxpayer, I don't want them wasted. I don't want them going into a pig. I want them sent to one. Send them to his office.
So, people of Wellington, we know someone who lives in Wellington who does some work with us. Schools, what we need to figure out is if we can get the schools together, just on one day, get somebody with a trailer who can go around to all the primary schools in Wellington, pick up all the waste, bring it to Parliament, drop it on the front door. There you go, Mr. Seymour. You said not to go to the pigs. How about you deal with it then? What should we do with it? One trailer, one day, Wellington primary schools. We'll see what they do then.
Or maybe you're in Auckland. You could go to his electorate office. Leave it there.
There's one out. There's one out in Botany as well.
Avenue. 27 Gillies Avenue, Newmarket.
Gillies Avenue. Yeah, people who don't know Auckland, that is one of the most expensive real estates. Gillies Avenue goes through where Epsom Girls Grammar is, and it goes right onto the motorway by Newmarket. That's really expensive real estate. There's other expensive real estate out in East Auckland and Botany that Mr. Luxon actually owns the property that he then rents back to himself as his electorate office. You know, East Auckland, you guys could get together one day, one trailer, all the primary schools, and take it to Mr. Luxon's place. See what he wants to do with it. Oh my gosh, it's such a good idea. You should look, bighearynews@gmail.com if anyone's got any ideas. This is actually an appropriate protest. We were talking about protest earlier. This would be an appropriate, good protest. Here's one day of the primary schools in East Auckland, Mr. Luxon, at your doorstep. Now what?
This is what we call direct action in the business.
All right, let's get to the end of the story.
School thinks the government is out of touch with the struggles families face.
It means such a lot to some of the families. It's what's helping them get by in many cases.
But for now, the meals are certainly pleasing someone, just not the children.
It's disheartening to see our kids are hungry and, you know, our resources that we have here are depleting.
Another day as the school lunch fiasco rolls on. Henry McMullen, One News.